Well, I was asked to look up in the code of what I thought would fit for the, I guess I'm going to call it the old Matt shoe store. And we've got a few handouts here. If you look in chapter 145, dangerous buildings, 145.03, unsafe building. Unsafe building means any structure, mobile home, meeting, or all the following, any or all, and it's got all kinds of names. You can read it yourself there, but basically unsafe, inadequate maintenance, fire hazarded, or abandoned. Well, I don't think it's any.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right up by it.
Check.
So to me, it'd be pretty easy to have Terry follow the to-do list, and if you guys so free want to do it, start the process.
And you know, I think Terry can verify some of this stuff on the building, but I think the police officers are probably the ones that would actually serve the notice. And I kind of like this do not enter, unsafe to occupy. I think there's one on one of the houses that there's pictures up here anyway. But, it really is unsafe to occupy. It's really a hazard. I mean, the roof is caved in, all the lights are hanging out.
My wife will not go in it. It's full of mold. It's just not safe. The floor's not safe.
I was in it 2 weeks ago,
Were you?
and there are places in that floor that you don't want to walk because
Good
it's
thing you
very
went, not
soft.
me or Chad, right?
I noticed your complaint.
Good thing she was walking on the floor, not you or me.
Yeah, well, me anyway.
Yeah.
So we were walking very gingerly through there because the floor, I mean, the floor joists are rotten, the roof rafters, they're rotten, the roof has holes in it, the water comes in, the mold is growing. I had the design architect from Main Street, Iowa here, and he walked through it with me. And just to give us an idea of what it would take to tear down the building, so if you get to the point where it's going to be torn down, one of our concerns as the design committee for Chamber Main Street is making sure that the details building and the Gift building are both still structurally the same once that building is gone. And his recommendation was to cut the roof joists, actually take off the roof, cut the roof joists, and then clean it out from the inside. Remove things from that interior wall. There is a block wall that is on the outside of the, I know, I'm talking with my hands a lot already. On the outside wall, the walls of the Mad Shoes building actually are attached to the Gift building and the Details building. So we would like that block wall left on both sides in order to keep the structural integrity of both of those buildings that adjoin it. So.
Did you tie into those with bolts and stuff, or what?
They always used
Did
to.
they?
Always used to. Fire.
What?
Have you seen it, Chad?
No, I haven't been in there. I've seen the roof.
I want to go in there, right?
That's enough.
Is there, Laura, you probably know more about this property as far as ownership and whatever.
The deed is still in the Winchell Family Trust under Main Street LLC. They started a limited liability corporation, and that is what the deed is under. Main Street LLC is a limited liability corporation of the Winchell Family Trust.
If some of you will remember, the Winchell family tried to give that to the city, and that's how they deeded it to the city. And
They drew up
real
a
winner.
quick claim deed
Yep.
and deeded it over to the city of Sac City, and we refused it, and it went right back to them.
So we're kind of, somebody paid the back taxes on it, but refused to take the quick claim deed. So it is definitely an abandoned building. So,
Somebody owns it.
well, the Winchell Family Trust.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's up to them, and it's up to the city council to go after them to,
That's the ordinance. What you gotta do, all you gotta do is follow it. Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's,
I'll sell it out.
let's,
I guess I would,
let's recommend that the city of Sac City send out a letter to,
Well, it's, what does it say in there? I don't remember. What's the procedure to start with?
It shows, if you go to 14504, it says notice to owner. And that's under, of course,
Notice
chapter
to-
145. And then explains in detail what the process is for notifying the owner and then go forward through the whole procedure.
they will probably refuse receiving the letters and stuff like that. It's kind of an interesting thing. You may want to make sure you run it past Colin before you...
Because he's an attorney, right? This
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So he knows the.
I won't comment about him either.
It's his daughter, I think, that probably
Yeah.
was the one. Dee was the one that
I
was...
think
Dee
she's
Wexel has
taken
been the one that I've been
property,
in contact with
Yeah.
in prior years.
So it's interesting.
I would think you want to get it down just for liability of it.
Well, and maybe that's a good thing to put in the paper, if you're in the...
Where does that say? Does
letter.
that come from the city administrator or zoning officer or?
Zoning administrator is responsible for the enforcement of this chapter.
Okay,
Liability, she doesn't look good.
So
there you go.
suggest you get hold of Colin and probably work with Adam and
You were in there.
start her up.
You may have caught something. You don't look good.
It says here
You don't
that
look so good yourself,
Talking
Sharon.
about liability.
in case the owner fails, neglects, or refuses to comply with the notice to repair, rehabilitate, or demolish, and remove the building or structure or portion thereof, the council may order the owner of the building prosecuted as a violator of the provisions of this chapter and may order the enforcement officer to proceed with the work specified in such notice. A statement of that cost of such work shall be transmitted to the council. So, also says the cost will be paid out of the city treasury. Such cost will be charged to the owner of the premises involved and levied as a special assessment against the land. So, I agree. I guess that's the best way to proceed with that. And
We
maybe,
have to, that's soon as
Yeah, starting there. I'd
yeah.
work with Colin on it. Make sure that,
Nobody here has a right to do anything anyway,
No,
except to go after.
right.
yeah, zoning officer, we can,
That's right.
I say work with Colin, he's under city attorney and then.
Are there additional back taxes due on it?
I am not sure on the back taxes. I would assume so at this point. There probably are.
That you might want to check out because the supervisors have indicated, before, and have worked with us on different pieces of property they did on the Sagerson property and stuff, is to work with us on getting some of these taken care of in some of our communities because there's no other way to handle some of these buildings. And people from California and all over are coming in and paying the back taxes, and then when they realize, well, that Yolanda Benkowska or something, she had that piece of property at 13th and Hobbs, I think it was Dwayne Clausen's originally, and when maybe they'll quit paying back taxes on abandoned property and do something, if they're addressed. So, okay, so I'm gonna take care of that one. That was Jim's.
Did everybody get a copy of the conceptual drawing? I mean, it's a little ahead of things, but just so you know, that is what we would like to see done if that building is torn down. That is what we'd like to see done. Chad and I were just talking, there will probably be some drainage issues there. I don't know if the tile would have to be put in and tied into the storm sewer, or how that can be addressed, but there's gonna be some issues that will need to be addressed once that building is down also. I'm not sure where the water's going now, but
Goes back to the backing out, there where the Denise's carport is, behind her building.
well, except for those eave spouts are all broken and it's all
Yeah,
just
but-
kind of going into the basement of this building,
Well,
I
that's
think,
what I
right
mean,
now.
what
So,
goes out that way.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, yeah, it's a little case.
What's the
That'll be
back
our,
wall,
that would
Laura?
make our,
The back wall is not attached to the details building.
No.
is there a back wall there?
There is a
Yes.
back wall on that building. There's 4 walls on the building. And the back wall is not attached to the details building.
Not to your building.
But the details building is an L shape,
Right. That's my back wall.
which is why you
what you're
see that
seeing
back there in that conceptual drawing.
That's your back wall?
Well, that wall is,
The old pharmacy.
it would be the old pharmacy, is the best way to explain it.
Oh, okay.
Where Bob Hattie's pharmacy, that would be where the
That was
ladies'
the addition
cosmetics and
that they put
everything were, around that L.
Would make our first green space, right?
Yep.
First green space downtown, so.
Would it still be for sale? If someone wanted to put a business in there?
I would assume that if the city has costs incurred against removing the building, that they would probably offer it for sale.